Today I want to show you and go through a camera, dual DVR, car DVR. This is it, and it's supposed to go up to 1080p. This is the box, and here are some of the specs. Let me get this going here, and that's pretty much what comes in this box. You'll find them in very generic names. This one just happens to be marked or branded as an EACE, but when I was looking for it, I found a whole bunch of other different ones, and I couldn't find a particular model with 2 cameras. So I wanted to do a video on that, just to kind of take a look at what this is, and show you what it comes with. Basically, you get the camera, the rear camera, the front camera, the wiring for the rear camera, and then you get the cigarette lighter, the USB cable, the pamphlet manual, and 2 screws for the camera housing here, if you want to use it that way. I'm not going to use the screws on mine just because I have it mounted a little differently, but I kind of wanted to go through this because my old one, it's no longer working, so I need to exchange it and put this new one in there. I just went ahead and checked. I was hoping I could use the old wiring from the old camera in there, but while this piece of the camera, it's the same, I found out that this is not. The old camera uses one that's bigger or thicker, and this one's a little smaller, maybe 2 millimeters. The other one's probably 3 millimeters. So that sucks, because now I have to rewire the whole thing again and just mount this one on there and figure that out. So it's like not necessarily starting over, but more work because I gotta do that. Unfortunately, now my camera doesn't have the mirror on the glass, which I didn't check before. I figure I can just still use it. I have an antenna in this area, but so I might be able to move this up a little more without the extensions, which I have no idea where I put it at the moment. I think they're here somewhere. There we go. That's what those look like. So let me go over this camera real quick, just to give you an overview of what it is and what you actually get. So let me fix the tripod, my tiny tripod here, to free my hands and get going here. So let's take a look. Before I forget, this one is the model that has the buttons on the bottom, and in the front it's all black. There's another model, which I'm not sure what version that is or this is, that has a sort of a square, silver square, which I didn't like because that would stand out like a sore thumb, and obviously on a camera you want to kind of keep it low key. So that's the reason I tried this, or I decided on this one. I kind of like the buttons on the bottom, but I noticed that if they're on the bottom, every time I set it down, which, if you have it mounted, it keeps turning on. So it's very sensitive, which is fine. If, once you mount it, it shouldn't be a problem. But the other one has the buttons on the sides, and I think on the other side. And then the macro SD cards on the other side too. They're very similar, but this is the model I went with. And I just couldn't find a video that had the dual camera model. Everything's single, and so I want to just kind of cover that a little bit. Now, with that said, let's get to it. The bottom of the camera has 3 buttons. You get the power, OK, and the lock, and then there's a very tiny R here, and that's for resetting the camera, which is kind of nice. You don't have to use a pen. It's actually a little button there, which came in handy when it froze on me, so I just did that. I started over. So in order to turn it on, before I forget, let me go ahead and plug it in. I already have my USB cable plugged into the computer, so let's see here. You plug that in, and you plug the rear camera, and the rear camera, that's what it looks like. It does have a slot there, so it only goes one way on this, so be careful to get that correctly and make sure you don't bend those pins because those things are tiny. I just tested this on my other one, on my old one, and it does plug in fine, but unfortunately this part is not the same. So like I said, it's another thing I was hoping not to have to do. So basically I have to reinstall everything again. You know, take some stuff apart, which it's always never fun, but okay, well, that is plugged in. Let me plug the camera the rear to the front, just like that. This is on, and well, you went ahead on me, so let me start over. The confusing part on here is basically the Wi-Fi. As you can see, is orange, and it has to be orange in order for your app to work. If it's not in orange, it wouldn't work. But here's where I need to get to. So to turn it on and off, you just hold it for 1 or 2 seconds, and it's on. The LED is, well, it's not flashing, but if you press OK, it stops, and it has to be solid in order for that other one to turn on. If it's not solid, it's not gonna turn on the Wi-Fi. And see, I can stop it and start it that way, and then if I hold it here, it turns it off, on and off. But if it's flashing and I do the same, it's not gonna do anything. It might come on, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of one of those weird things on this. It's not quite straightforward. See, it clicks, but nothing. It might come on again, I don't know. Nope. So you have to make sure it's solid and then hold it. There it goes. Or you know, might have to just do once. Oh, come on. See, now it doesn't want to do anything. Okay, there it goes. I heard the click, so it turns on. So now I can go ahead and connect my phone to it, or my app here. And here's the app. So the lock is just for saving files that you need or you want to keep, and the OK is for what you just saw there. So those are pretty much it. And then your SD card, you can, I think it's, on one place I saw on, I think the manual has 30, wait, I don't want to say the manual, but the manual I think said 64, but the box says 32 gigabytes. Actually the box says 64, but the manual says 32, so your mileage will vary. Just try whatever works as far as the SD card. So now that that's done, let me go ahead and see if I can connect to the app and show you what that looks like. WCVR Duo. It's you can get on the Android store, basically, or the Apple store. That's where you get it. So that's what that looks like. And I apologize for that. Here, let's see if I can get a better view without all this light on my face here. Okay, that's not gonna work. So I'm just gonna leave the light above here. I'll try to move the phone. So unfortunately, it turned off on me, and that's why it's not connecting. I'm not sure what's going on, but it was working earlier, so let's try that again. It's kind of been on and off, so let's try that. Not supposed to be turned off. Maybe it's a battery that's not charged, I'm not sure, but anyway, so here it is. So we'll go to that, we'll connect, and that's what the app looks like. So let me see if it'll stay on. Let me try to go to it, and there we go. So I think that would be this way. Yes. So you can, excuse me, you can see that it kind of lags a bit, quite a bit actually. However, the good thing is that you won't be using it for this, just for aiming it at first, and you know, just to kind of, if you want to check the other camera too. So this is the rear camera, and there we go, and that's what that looks like. So the streaming on it, or the Wi-Fi connection, it's kind of slow, but again, you're not going to be using it that way. Basically, here's where I'm going to go into the settings. These are all the settings for this particular model, and there's nothing else. I like the simplicity of it. I mean, there's nothing more to it. Let me see. So let me turn off the park mode, and I think that's why it keeps going on and off for me. So I'm just going to turn everything off for now. For park mode, is basically if the car gets hit, for example, that's a good feature. Instead of having the motion detection here, which will, you know, keep running all the time. And then you can set the park mode for 2, 4G. The lower the number, the more sensitive it is, according to the manual, but you have to test that. So right now I'm just going to keep everything off so it's not doing some funky stuff on me. And then, you know, change that later, which is pretty good. Now, as far as resolutions go, 1080, 720, Dolby VGA. That's all you get. Then you have time display on if you want a timestamp on it, on the any videos, motion detection, loop recording. So you got 2 minutes or off, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10 minutes. It's up to you, whatever you want to record. Record audio on and off, auto power off, 1 minute, 2, and you have off, 1 minute, 3 minutes. Frequency 60 and 50 Hertz. Exposure 0. Well, I mean, you have an option to change that. Like I said, park mode, G sensor, and then you have the time setting, format, your card, and the Wi-Fi settings, which is just the name and, you know, your password, and then about the version of it, which is 4 dot something something something. So there you go. I'm not sure how well this is coming through, but since the screen is very small, what I'm looking at. But basically, that's pretty much the whole app, and it works. This part, it's working fine. It froze at first, but it seems fine now. So I like it. I hate confirming this, and then like the sound on the camera when it turns on and off, you can't change that, which I guess is fine. I mean, you know, you just turn it on, but it might get annoying every time you get in the car, on it, in and out. Eventually that may get annoying because you may not want to hear it all the time. So at least the app is working. You know, they can smooth that out a little more. That would be nice. You can see the date on the bottom, which is nice. You know, that's, you can take it off if you want, but you always want the date if you want to know when something happened anyway. And on the settings, you can get the date real quick automatically from the phone, which is kind of nice too. And that's pretty much it for this part. And that's kind of like the upgrade versus my old one that didn't have it. It had a screen, small screen that I had to try to look at, and because it's mounted, you can't really even see it. So this is kind of an upgrade in that sense. I mean, the videos are, you know, you can kind of see things, and that's what you want. But it would be nice if like both the front and the rear were nice in terms of the quality of the video. But it's not totally bad, as you can see here. And I'm indoors too, so outside it may be a little better. One thing that's different between this camera and the one that I have is that the lens is actually sticking out like this. And the other one that I have, it's actually inside. It's more of a concave, and this is sort of a convex. The concave has been, what do you call it? The concave has gotten a lot of dirt, and it's almost you know, you can't even see anything almost now. And this one, because it's convex, so if dirt comes on here, you know, you can clean it easier than the other one. I tried cleaning the other one and it's just hard to even get that clean, and I can barely even get in there. So this might be a little bit of an advantage in that sense, because it's easier to clean, and rain comes or water, it'll just go down and not get stuck in there. Just a little thing I've noticed, which is something to keep in mind. I mean, I prefer something like this where the lens is covered by, you know, it's flat and covered by whatever it is, but this is kind of good though. It should be able to clean it easier, and hopefully it'll stay clearer than the old one. And that's just something small that you wouldn't know unless you actually used one before, which is my experience. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I don't need that. And aside from the other buttons on the side and that annoying silver circle that they put on, I don't know why they did that. I guess just to make it a little different, but you obviously want it a little more subtle that way. And if you get the other one, just go ahead and take a Sharpie and paint it. That might work. But I wanted to try one since I don't even have one, and I need to change it. I decided to go on this one. Now my mirror is farther inside the car. It's not out. I didn't even check this. You do have this extensions here that you can use. However, you know, that helps with the cable. But mine, I already test fitted this, and I have like an antenna there, which, you know, now thinking about it, I should have put it on one of the edges instead of the middle, but it is what it is. So I can have the antenna, and this is going to stick out a little bit, but you gotta remember, this thing is pretty bulky, and which is fine because it gets hot in there, and you know, you have vents, and this side seems to get pretty warm, and at least, you know, when you have that sort of bulkiness, you have space for air, things to cool off. So that's kind of okay. I mean, you know, as long as it's in the middle, it should be okay. It's just kind of, it is bulky. So on the pictures, they all look small, but you know, this one's just a big bulk. The other one's more flat, but it's still probably that long. So you know, they still stick out like a sore thumb if you look. The other thing is the tape. All this was covered with tape. It was a gray tape, and even though it said 3M, it was a pretty crappy tape because I was able to take it off pretty easy. I have this Scotch tape that I bought at the local store. It's black, as you can see. So what I did, I just put 3 pieces. And the reason I did that, I didn't cover everything, is because if you ever have to take this off again, these things are a pain in the royal butt in order to remove it without making a mess out of things or damaging anything. So that's why I did this, and even this 3, it's going to hold it pretty well in there. So other than that, that's pretty much it for this type of camera. I mean, I don't even know what to call it other than EA's, but when I looked again, you know, I couldn't find this particular dual type of camera, and I usually prefer one that has the front and back. Just makes more sense if we're gonna put one of these on there to use both. I was hoping the wiring it was the same, but it's not. So unfortunately now I have to like rewire this whole thing again, which is not a huge deal, but you know, I was hoping to save a little bit of time. But you know, I might be able to use the same old power supply, which is the same one like this. Well, it's similar to this one. It's not the same, but it works still. So I may have to take that one out. So that's that. And well, I hope this is helpful. And let me see. As far as the manual, it's a little bit hard to read, but here you go. WCVR-dual. That's what you want for the app, and you know, everything's pretty much not too hard to understand. So there you go. That's the dual center or mirror or I won't call it mirror because you get mirrors every time you look one up. So I'll just call it the dual DVR from, in this case, EA's. But again, it could have different brandings in there, so don't even go by that. Just go by dual camera or front and rear camera DVR, and then you should be able to find something like this easier. Alright, there you go.